Alright guys, what's going on? I'm going to go over your notes, and then after the notes I'm going to have you do an assignment on Delta Math. Alright, so today we're going to be writing linear equations from 2 points. Yesterday we did a point and a slope. So today we're doing 2 points, and we're going to need to use a formula we learned, the slope formula. And so that is when I have a fraction separated by subtraction. And if I have point number 2 and point number 1, y2 and x2 go on, y2 goes on top of x2, and y1 goes on top of x1. Okay? And so once we use your slope formula, then we can plug it into the point slope formula we learned yesterday, where it's y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay? So basically we're just adding a step of doing the slope formula. Alright? So let's look at number 1. So number 1, I have -3, 7, and 1, -1. Right? So you're going to identify your points. So I can make this one x1, comma y1, and this one x2, comma y2. All right. Okay. Let's look at the. So my slope formula, which is right here, is, and the best way to do it is draw your m and then do a fraction sign with separated by subtraction in the middle, okay? And then y2 over x2, so y2 is -1 over x2, which is +1. And then on this side is y1, which is 7, over x1, which is -3. And then we just subtract and add across. So here, -1 minus 7 would be -8. 1 minus -3, these two negatives become a positive. And again, please use Desmos if you get stuck on addition or subtraction. Okay? And then -8 divided by 4 is -2. Or at least use it as help, right? You can put -1 minus 7, and it gives you the answer as -8. Also, 1 plus 3, you should know how to do that, 4. Or -8 divided by 2 is -4. Or, sorry, divided by 4 is -2. Okay? So then, what we're going to do is we have my slope, and I have a point, x1 and y1. I'm going to plug that in to my point slope formula, this one right here. Okay? So I already know my m and my x1 and my y1. So let's plug that in. Okay? So it's going to be y minus y1, and y1 is 7, equals m, which is -2, parentheses x minus, and then x1, which is -3. So the black is always going to be what you write. Okay, so like over here, you can already write y minus, and then leave a space for that red, and then leave a space for the pink, and then x minus, leave a space here. So this is what you're always going to have to write when it's in point slope formula. Okay, and so this is my answer right here. Okay, so basically the only thing we're adding is this step from yesterday. Alright, so let's try number 2. So again, label your points. Okay, and then draw your m and your fraction, and then subtraction. So then it's y2 over x2, so -4 over 3. So the second one goes on top of the first one. And then -7 over -6. Okay? So I'm on number 2 right here. So I have negative 4 minus negative 7. So that's positive 3. So this down here is positive 3. And then 3 minus negative 6. And that is 9. So this is going to be 3 over 9. And what's 3 over 9? If I reduce that, I can reduce the top by 3 and then the bottom by 9. And that is 1/3. Now I want to show you something in Desmos, is that if you want to know how to reduce the 3 over 9, okay, so I have 3 over 9, right? If I type that into Desmos, 3 divided by 9, and I get this, but then you see this right here. So if you click on that, it actually shows you how to reduce the fraction. Okay, so the Desmos reduces fractions for you. Okay, so there's no reason for you to get the problem wrong. Okay, so let's look at 2. So I have y minus y1, which is negative 7. And then my slope, which is 1/3. And then x minus x1, which is negative 6. Now here I have negatives, right? So that means these two negatives become a positive, and then these two negatives become a positive. And this is my answer. Okay, so try problems 3 and 4. Try problems 3 and 4. All right, so I'm going to go through these pretty quickly since you've already done them. Hopefully you got them right. So I'm going to name this x1, y1, and this x2, y2. Okay, so m equals, draw your big fraction, and then subtraction on top and bottom. So y2 over x2, so that's negative 6 over 4. And then y1 over x1, so that's negative 1 over 2. Okay, so I add across, so again, negative 6 minus negative 1 is negative 5. And then 4 minus 2 is 2. Now let me check if I can't reduce this. Negative 5 divided by 2, or I missed the division. Okay, and since these are the same, I can't reduce them, so I'm just going to leave it as negative 5 over 2. Right? And so I already know that it's going to look something like this. Now I just have to fill in the rest, right? So y1 is negative 1. My m is negative 5 over 2. And my x1 is positive 2. And I got to check for double negatives, and that's right here. So this is y plus 1 equals negative 5 over 2 times the quantity x minus 2. Okay? All right, let's try another one. You should have already done this one, actually. This is x1 comma y1 and x2 comma y2. All right, so m equals, separated by fraction. So y2 over x2, so that's 5 over 2. And then y1 over x1, so that's 6 over 1. So 5 minus 6 is negative 1. And then 2 minus 1 is 1. Negative 1 divided by 1 is negative 1. So if I plug this into my point slope formula, okay, so y1 is 6, and m is negative 1, and x1 is positive 1. Right, so I'm getting the x1 and the y1 from here. Right, this is y1 and this is x1. All right, now if you understand this already and you're good to go, go ahead, you can stop watching this video and go do your assignment. Now, if you are struggling with this, okay, please do not stop watching. I'm going to show you something on Desmos that will help you a lot. Okay? So go ahead. If you already got this, you understand this, you can get off and off of this video and go and start doing your assignment. Again, if you do not understand, please continue to watch. All right? It will be very helpful. Okay? So for number 5, on Desmos, there's a way that I can figure out the equation of that line without really having to do a lot of work. Okay? So if you open up Desmos, and please pay attention, do this as I'm doing it because you will need to be able to do it. All right? So the first thing you're going to do is click the plus, and you're going to add a table. So here you're going to add a table. Okay? Now, you're going to put these side by side next to each other. So this is a -8. So that means next to the -8, I'm going to have a 1. And here I have a 0. So next to the 0, I'm going to have a -5. And Desmos actually plots the points for you. Right? So that's right here and right here. Okay? So I need to create the line between those 2 points. And Desmos can actually do that for me. And so the way it's going to work is you're going to write y1. Okay? And that's because I have a y1 here. And then you're going to go to the ABC, and you're going to use this squiggly line right here. That stands for approximately. Okay? So you go to the, if you're on here, you go to the ABC. I'm down at the bottom of the video. And then you, for this one, you go down here, and it's right here. Okay? And then you're going to basically kind of copy the mx plus b, except instead of x, just x, you're going to have to put an x1 as well, and then plus, and put a b. Okay? So I see all this stuff right here. Okay? And then I see these 2 things right here. M equals -0.75 and -5. Right? So that means my slope is -0.75, but on your answers, it's not going to be a decimal, it's going to be a fraction. Desmos actually lets me turn that into a fraction. So what I do is -0.75. You see this right here, you click on it, or not. Okay, there it goes. And so the fraction is -3/4. So that means the equation to this is going to be y equals m, which is -3/4, x plus b, which is -5. So actually this is -5, sorry. Or not. -5. Okay? And this is in the form y equals mx plus b. And what you type actually is y1 squiggly line mx1 plus b. All right? So the first steps, I'm going to write the steps. Okay? So you click plus to add a table. Then you're going to fill in the table. And then in a new box, you're going to type y1 squiggly line mx1 plus b. Okay, so try that on number 6 really quick, and then I'm going to show you if you're correct. Okay, so go ahead. All right, so I'm going to do it in Desmos for you. Let me go more this way. Okay. All right, so actually, If you have this already typed, all you have to do is just change the table, but I'm going to start fresh just in case you weren't able to see, okay? So you're going to click plus to add a table. You're going to fill in the table, so -3, and, oh, that's +3. -3, and next to the -3 is a -8, right? I get that from here. And then in the bottom, you're going to put 2 here and then the 7 here. So just how you see them, okay? So then you type this right here, y1 squiggly line mx1 plus b. That's actually a tilde, okay? So I'm just going to start saying that. So y1, then you go to the, for the squiggly line, this one, you go to the ABCs, and down here it's right next to the enter and the comma. And then mx, oh, I didn't hit the m, I guess. So mx1, and it does the 1 automatically. All you got to do is click it, plus b. Okay, and so it tells you m is 3 and b is 1. So that means m is 3 and b is 1. So my equation is y equals 3x plus 1. Okay, so that's only if you don't understand it. Okay, if you did understand it, please do it by hand. But for those of you that are struggling, go ahead and use Desmos because it'll make sure that you are not falling behind. Okay, so go ahead, read the board. You have an assignment on Delta Math, right? If you have any questions, please ask the sub, or you can contact me, right? If you don't have me on Remind, it is @read ouch, I believe. Let me check it really quick. Yeah, @read ouch to 81010. Okay. So if you have any questions, please contact me. Please work on your assignment. I'm gonna take it for a quiz grade. Other than that, have a nice weekend. I will see you on Monday.